but she has done lots of other things in her life as well. And Roni founded the Artists for Orphans here in Kyneton almost 5 years ago. Artists for Orphans works with orphan, Agent Orange affected disadvantaged youth in Vietnam. They've supplied medication for an intensive care unit at GoVap Orphanage, sponsored ongoing education for orphans leaving their orphanages, built a soccer field and playground at a poor rural orphanage, supplied mattresses, furniture and food for orphanages. In 2015, Artists for Orphans purchased $10,000 worth of prosthetic limbs for bomb victims in the Quang Tri province. And believe it or not, they've even pledged to inseminate cows for a man who is a triple amputee. And we think this wind is cold. Ladies and gentlemen, great pleasure. Oh, and I must say, in 2014, Roni was awarded the Macedon Ranges Shire Council's Citizen of the Year Award for her endeavours. Ladies and gentlemen, guest speaker for Australia Day, Roni Wildeboer.
Thank you, Kevin, and thank you to Snitch for all the great music this morning. It's a bit windy, isn't it? I had a fabulous hat to wear. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Australians, and soon to be Australians, I would like to acknowledge the Aboriginal traditional owners of the place where we come together today. I pay respect to their elders and to their culture, the oldest living culture in the world. I feel very honoured to be asked to speak today. Traditionally, Australia Day commemorates the arrival of Captain Arthur Phillip and the First Fleet into Port Jackson in New South Wales in 1788. And many consider this to be Australia's birthday. Being Australian is an attitude rather than a particular race of people. I don't know, I'm getting awful sound here. So it's an attitude rather than a particular race of people, being an Aussie. We are one of the most ethnically diverse societies. If you do anything, Snitch? Ah, that's better. We're one of the most ethnically diverse societies in the world, other than the Indigenous Australians who've lived here for 50,000 years. And other than them, we are all migrants, or we're descendants of migrants. And together we have created a unique nation. This Australia Day, thousands of migrants and refugees will proudly pledge their loyalty to Australia and its people at citizenship ceremonies around the nation. And we as a nation will welcome their assimilation into our already multicultural Australian family. Growing up, I constantly heard how fortunate I was to be living in the lucky country. I sang the national anthem at school and rattled off Dorothea McCullough's My Country by heart. But several of my friends found school in Australia very difficult back then, that was in the 60s, because they were from different countries. These people ate funny food, they were a funny colour, they talked funny, and kids were cruel, and they called them names. One of my very dear friends came over from Mauritius as a little girl. Her time at school in Australia was very painful. The kids made her life hell. Well, that little girl who had brown skin and ate funny food is now a professor of languages at one of our Australian universities. So thank goodness that we have evolved from those dark ages and we realise the benefits that multiculturalism does bestow upon us. Today, Australian families from all backgrounds and nations will converge around the Barbie. They'll have a game of beach cricket, and some like us will congregate at a local landmark or town hall to celebrate what truly is great about Australia. I have to admit that I did not fully grasp how fortunate I was to be born here until very late in life. Nearly 5 years ago now in Kyneton I founded Artists for Orphans Inc. or AFO. So my team and I have been working in Vietnam a very beautiful country with very endearing people who are still suffering from the residue of the Vietnam War. We work with Vietnamese children who are orphaned, and some of these orphaned children are very ill. They are physically and mentally affected by Agent Orange and other disabilities. Some of the kids we work with will not survive their childhood, some have not. Children are born without limbs, without eyes, they suffer from spina bifida, cerebral palsy, the insidious hydrocephalus, and they are orphaned by poverty and circumstance. We also work with bomb victims, poor people simply going about their business of planting coffee beans or scavenging for scrap metal, who unwittingly disturb UXOs, undetonated bombs, and have their limbs blown off or worse. They are risking their lives scavenging for scrap metal which may bring them in $2 a day. So it was not until I witnessed all of this that I really appreciated how privileged I was, how privileged we all are. Not because we live in mansions or drive flash cars, but because we have clean water, clean food, and a roof over our head, and somebody cares if we live or die. There is no Medicare or Social Security over there.